Welcome to the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Shelley Whitehead. Thank you so much for joining us right here on Charter Channel 181, where you can see us 6 days a week. And you can also find us on the internet. Ooh, we're so fancy. You can find us on YouTube as well as Facebook and on Twitter. We're also there, so check us out there. Leanne does have her own webpage called thethirdhandvideo.com, so you can find us there. We've got our own page. We're that special, so make sure you check us out there because we're always bringing you information about what's going on in your community. So you need to keep up to date with what's going on. Like today, we're going to meet the brand spanking new United Way director, it's Kim Schauenbuel. That'll be exciting. And also talk to a group called NAMI. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. You may not have heard about this, but it's something you're going to want to watch. So make sure you stick around and watch that today. We are always looking for new and interesting information. So if you've got something going on in your life, an event or an organization that you're a part of, and you'd like to introduce the Owatonna community to that, just let us know. You can contact us at owatonnatoday@charter.net. You can also call Leanne Alt, our producer, at 390-5751. She'll be glad to get you on the air, and we can talk to you about what's going on in your life. So stick with us. We'll be right back after these messages.
Hi, I'm Dr. Beth Giltvet.
And I'm Dr. Nick Vincelli of Horizon Eye Care.
We want you to see what you love and love how you see. We're proud sponsors of the Owatonna Today Show.
I needed more than just another dead-end job. I wanted a career, so I expressed myself.
With the kids off to college, I decided it was time for me to go back to work and express myself.
Express got me in touch with some really great companies. Now, I'm on my way to a great career.
Express Employment Professionals is in contact with thousands of companies in need of quality employees. Come in now and get the job you deserve.
Express yourself today.
And we're back in studio. I do have Kim Schauenbuel. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back. We've seen you a couple times here on the show, but
yes,
not in this new job.
I know, it's brand new.
Brand spanking.
I know.
So you are now the official United Way Executive Director.
Executive Director.
What is that?
You really should have prompted me on that question before we got it rolling. Wow.
I like to keep things fresh.
Fresh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, basically, it means that I make sure that the organization is moving in its intended direction, and that all of the wheels stay on the bus so that we can keep going as planned. You know, basically, the executive director is the manager of the organization. But of course, overseen by the board. As my mentor Evelina likes to say, I work at the pleasure of the board. And so, you know, that's kind of the basics.
So it's kind of you're captaining this very amazing ship.
Amazing.
How many organizations does United Way work with, do you know?
I think right now we're working with 19 organizations representing about 24 programs.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
That is quite a bit.
So as you step into this new job, we'd love to know a little bit more about you, where you come from, and how long you've been in Owatonna, that kind of thing.
I have actually been in Owatonna for 17 years now. And when I first moved here, I was working for an organization called Tenneco Automotive, and I sold auto parts into the Napa system. But that's like a little known fact that most people don't know.
You look like a car guy. You know, I would have totally pegged you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, well, anyway, I shall not take the bait and digress on that one. But so more people know that I worked at Wenger for a short period of time, for about a year and a half, and that's really where I got my footing here in Owatonna, where during that time period I also started doing theater with the Little Theater of Owatonna, and really met a number of great friends at that period. And so that's really our grounding period was when I was working at Wenger. Then I went outside and did outside sales again for Mallinckrodt Pharmaceuticals, and then Covidien Surgical Devices. But now I'm here working for my community.
Yes, and you were married.
I'm married to Darren Schauenbuel.
And he's done some theater as well, so maybe people might recognize him
absolutely.
as well. Yeah. So you have had just a very interesting pathway to
Yes.
becoming, because none of that is actual, that none of that is charity, well, not charity, but how would you consider?
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit, thank you.
Yes.
None of that's really nonprofit.
No.
So tell me, what transitioned you into working in the business world into a nonprofit community?
Well, I have been pursuing my master's degree over the last 5 years, and I just completed it. And this master's is in a Master of Arts and Liberal Studies from Hallman University. And this particular program really focuses on an interdisciplinary course of study, which means taking a certain topic or a problem and looking at it from many different avenues for cause, and how it fits into our spirituality, how it fits into our business life, our medical life. I mean, really, there's no bounds in looking at it. And really, that opened me up to the idea that the problems that we have in our community and issues that we need to solve really are interdisciplinary as well, and that there's not one right answer for these things. There might be, a good answer, but usually that is taking into account many of the different facets of how we are as human beings and how we interact with each other.
That sounds like a perfect match with the new community assessment. Of like, so as you were going through your studies and as they were working through this in Owatonna, so many bells must have gone off as, wow, yes, that's where I am. I understand that kind of works well. So that makes sense that with that degree, you really are poised at a good point to really help Owatonna move forward with the community assessment.
Right. Well, I'll say that it did ring bells when we were working on it the last year. I've been with the United Way of Steele County for a year working as associate director, and I really was not working that integrally with the community assessment process. But as I was reading the results and watching Tanya Paley do her really important work as Director of Strategic Operations, really they all rang bells, and it just made me feel like I was in the right place for my career, and also in a good place that I can help the community as well and the things I do.
We have a great community, and they've actually just done an amazing job. You just finished your campaign, so tell us a little bit about where we are and what the end result is.
We made it. Yes, we made our campaign. Our campaign goal was $665,000, and we made it just over that at about $667,000 and some dollars. So I have a lot of people to thank for that. Primarily our community campaign leadership team. These are the individuals, the organizations from our community that decided to step up and lead the campaign for us this year, and to lend their social capital, as we say, for them to come out and say, United Way of Steele County is a great organization, and these are the reasons why you should give to them. Those organizations were the Steele County Public Health, the Owatonna School District, and also Mayo Clinic Health Systems of Owatonna. And the people that were directly involved in that were Pete Grant, of course, Superintendent of Schools, Tom Sager, and also in the schools, Mary Urch in Public Health, as well as Stan Groff, who's the Director of Public Health, and the wonderful organizations out there at Mayo Clinic Health Systems of Owatonna, which is Stephanie Olson, Dave Berg, and Dr. Brian Bunkers, who we kept them all very busy coming out and doing appearances for us, being on the radio, being on television.
Times,
yes. They were all really great sports and really helped us pull out this win for the community.
And that's what it is, and I think that's what their focus and their understanding was even though it might have been very time consuming, they understood that they were actually making an impact on their community. And I love having those people who are the partnerships come in and talk about it, especially the ones, I know we had the woman from Jostens come in and talk about that, because it impacts them and continues to impact them as they move forward, understanding really what United Way does.
Right, absolutely. And then of course we have all of our corporate donors, which we couldn't do it without all of our donors. And we have people like the Wenger Corporation, Viracon, Truth Hardware, Gopher, I could go on and on. Federated Insurance, of course, is a major benefactor of ours, and we can't thank these organizations enough really for doing what they do, for taking the leadership and really supporting us, so that we can support the safety net in our community and make sure that all of our community citizens have the opportunity to live good lives, to have a good income, to rise above poverty, to get a good education, and to be healthy.
One thing that I think that I like to emphasize, and I would like you to your words, so important for people who maybe aren't suffering in any way. They're not having any issues. Why should they give? Why should they care? Why should the United Way matter to them?
Well, actually, you never know who's receiving services with the United Way. Last year, in 2013, which is the last year that we looked at, over 11,000 citizens of Steele County received services. And if you're considering that our total population is 36,000, then, did I say 11,000? Good, 11,000, not 1,100.
No, because that's quite a bit more.
Right, exactly. Between a quarter and a third of our population receive services. Now that's everybody from children who receive educational programming through some of our member agencies like Crisis Resource Center, who's going to be receiving our Agency Live United Award later on this week.
Congratulations to them.
Congratulations. They do children's programming regarding or surrounding violence prevention.
Nice.
Right. And
Again, not just a safety, not an after, but a before product.
Right. And then also children will receive dental education as well with Bright Smiles out of Medford, so that they know that how to take care of their teeth, and that will continue to help them have good health throughout their lives. But also agencies like senior Healthy Seniors in their volunteer program. I always had somebody come up to me at almost every one of our public appearances this year and say, my neighbor receives this service, or my cousin receives a service, or my grandparent receives a service, and it's so vital to their success and their being able to stay in their homes. And
you just don't know.
You don't know.
And and you never know if you might be. I know we've talked about this before. You never know when you might need to be able to be a part of that. And so giving now kind of allows that opportunity. I do want to make sure people know that they can actually talk to you. They want to get to know you. How can they kind of get a hold of you and figure out who you are and talk more about your new position?
Right. Well, I think Leanne is putting the numbers up on the screen right now, so please call the office. You can email me. You can also find us at Facebook. In fact, I really want everybody to go to Facebook, and you can like our page, but also go and make sure that you're looking at all of those companies that have contributed to us and so generously, so that you can also give your thanks to them as well by going in and visiting those or supporting those organizations.
I can vouch for Kim. We've been friends for a very long time.
Yes.
And I can tell you that she's an amazing human being who has a really great heart. And so I do encourage you to come get to know her, find out a little bit about her, and make sure you get to know what her heart is for United Way, because I'm sure it's a beautiful thing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Don't let the cold winter weather stop you from exercising. Keep up your fitness program at the West Hills Tennis and Fitness Center. We offer a variety of different membership packages available on daily, monthly, and yearly basis. We also have a variety of programs and services to help the newest of members get started and to help those who have been around for a while improve on what they are doing. The Tennis and Fitness Center participates in insurance reimbursement programs with a variety of different insurance providers that could make you eligible for up to $20 credit each month. For more information about the West Hills Tennis and Fitness Center, call us at 444-4290.
Amy Swain Hearing Centers is a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show. I'm Dr. Amy Swain, and I want everyone to hear better.
Hi, I'm Brenda with the Mortgage Office of Brenda Bednar, aligned with American Mortgage and Equity Consultants, where closings feel right from the beginning. I'm a proud supporter of the Owatonna Today Show.
Hello, I'm Sean McNulty. And I'm Deb Gillard with Brookdale Senior Living, Sterling House, and Clarebridge of Owatonna. And we are a proud sponsor of the Owatonna Today Show.
And we're back with the Owatonna Today Show. In studio I have with me Judy Johnson and John Hallman. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate you having us.
We're going to start with you. I'd like you to start, Judy. I want you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and who you are.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Judy Johnson. I was born and raised in Owatonna. I've never left it, so that's kind of where I am now. And my husband and I run a business here in Owatonna. We run Kurt's Truck and Diesel Service, so we've been doing that for the last 34 years, and I've been involved in the community and such with my children growing up and things like that, and that's kind of what there is to know about me. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm John Hallman, and I reside in Owatonna also, and I've lived here since 1969, so we're becoming familiar with the community.
A little bit,
Yeah,
a little bit.
Starting to call it home.
Yeah.
And we are retired, my wife and I, and we live inside the community now. We used to live on the edge of the community,
Okay.
but so now we're in-town
You're
resident.
a city dweller now.
Yeah, we're city folk. Yeah. So
Well, thank you so much for coming. John, I'm going to start with you, if you don't mind. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about NAMI. And so tell me, this is the National Alliance on Mental Illness.
Yes.
And what is this alliance? Explain to me a little bit about it.
National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, is a three-level organization, and the grassroots organizations come out of the national organization, which dwells in Washington, D.C., and they are the umbrella of all the other organizations, and we reach to them for support, both physically and monetarily. And then they also have the support of, we have the support of the state organization, which falls under the national organization, NAMI Minnesota, which is an organization which advocates on the state level with the legislature, and they also set up new programs and organize the local level, which is NAMI, Owatonna, or Tri-AMI. We service three counties primarily is our focus, so we come under their auspice.
What does Tri-AMI do for the area? What products do they give us?
Our main function is to be a support group. At this time has been our primary function, and we have two support groups, a new support group. One is the one that Judy and I are involved in, support families and friends that have a person that they know that has a mental illness. And we support them through group sessions that we conduct once a month. We come together, and we also try to make awareness in the community about mental illness, and partner with different people, the doctors and the care facilities in Owatonna.
Judy, I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you about why this is so important, bringing awareness to mental illness. I think, maybe some people might have firsthand experience. In fact, that's probably more often than not that case.
Right.
But maybe some other people just have it maybe through the television. Tell me a little bit about mental illness and how it really does affect our community here in Owatonna.
Well, statistically, 1 in 4 people will have a mental health crisis sometime in their life. So if
Can you
look
define
at
a mental health crisis for me so we can be...
Well, it could be anything from being severely depressed to being non-functional because of that, possibly delusional. And I would say something that would take you into the hospital for help would be a crisis.
Okay.
Or there's so many different ways to describe mental illness. I mean, everything from anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress syndrome, which we've heard an awful lot about lately, schizophrenia, and then there's all different kinds of personalities disorders. And so that is kind of what, so a lot of different things can cause a crisis in someone's life where they need help. And a crisis is when someone really needs help and possible hospitalization.
And so 1 in 4 people have that kind of experience in their own life.
Possibly at some time in their life would have, that type of experience. They say 60 million people have a diagnosed mental illness in the United States, and that doesn't include what's not diagnosed. So, the community has to be aware, that people have mental illness, and it might be your neighbor, it might be someone at your church, someone you work with, so you always, have to be compassionate for when that type of situation happens to someone.
I'd kind of like to talk about that, because I think that we as a community kind of ostracize those who might have been either self-label or we see them having a mental illness. We don't know how to interact with them. We're uncomfortable. Tell me a little bit about what your organization does to kind of break those stereotypes down and get people to realize. You were telling me earlier that it's a disease. It's a physical disease.
Right. Yeah. Mental illness is just like any other disease that could happen to anyone. It's a disease of the brain, and it can cause misfiring within the brain, and so then that can cause mental illness. And and as for other people, there's a fine line between if you think someone has a mental illness or it could be a drug issue. And I think what people need to do is take a look at what's happening with someone and just ask them if there's something wrong, if there's some unusual behavior. Ask and don't be afraid to talk about mental illness. Don't be afraid to say if someone says, well, I'm in counseling or I feel kind of down today, say, do you want to talk about it? And I think that's a great help for people to be open to other people. Or if someone has been hospitalized for mental illness, say, I'm sorry to hear that. Do you want to talk about your experience and such? So
it reminds me of what I would say maybe 20, 30 years ago, the C word, cancer. Nobody talked about it. And so if somebody had it, you didn't want to talk about it because it was at such a stage where people didn't know how to handle it. That's what mental illness reminds me of, is that we're getting to the point where we're starting to talk about it with some high-profile celebrities who've been struggling with it and taken their own lives. And even so, I think this is something that can be achieved. And I think that NAMI does a good job of working towards that. And so, John, one of the things that you mentioned that you do have support groups. So tell me, if someone is either they do have a family member that they know that is going through this, when are your support groups?
Well, if you have a family member or a friend,
So even just someone who impacts their life.
Acquaintance, that might have a mental illness, and you want to be a support to them, and you're struggling in how to support and what goes on with those issues. We have a meeting once a month, the first Monday of each month, and we meet at Christ Community Covenant Church in Owatonna, and at 7 o'clock, and our meetings are open to any of those people, and there's no charge, and so it's a support group, and we just interact with each other. Sometimes there's people that are facing issues, and they're trying to navigate through those things, and they feel separated from other people, that they can't talk to someone else about it. We're available.
Yeah. So you might give them maybe some ways to start that conversation, or how to interact with them when they might not have any idea.
Yes, and also just to give them support to know that they're not alone.
That's very important.
And like Judy was mentioning, there's 1 in 4 people that are touched by that, and so many times they feel isolated and nowhere to go. And we are not doctors, so we don't offer that type of information. And
but you probably can give them resources if they do need
definitely,
to.
And that's one of the good things that we do have the resources, know of the resources in the community where they can search out and seek support also.
Yeah, because we were mentioning earlier that not a lot of people might not know about NAMI because they've not had this experience before.
Correct.
And so you mentioned that how hospitals might refer people to your focus groups to talk about what's going on.
Yeah. We have a very good alliance with the Owatonna Community Hospital, and they've been a good support for us in many different ways of offering rooms for groups that we've come together with and stuff like that.
So you mentioned that you had another group?
Yeah, there's another new group in Owatonna that comes under the NAMI auspice. The state office supports them, and they have trained facilitators that are it's a peer group. It's people that are engaged in a mental illness in their life right now, and they conduct their own meetings, and it's at the Owatonna Hospital, and they meet each Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. So it's led by people that have a mental illness, and it's a good support group for those people.
Making sure they know that they're not alone again.
Correct.
That's got to be the biggest support for them, is that they aren't the only ones struggling through this.
Yes, definitely.
Well, I want to talk to you a little bit, Judy. You've got an event coming up in April?
Yes, let me find my sheet here. Okay, it's and this is actually geared towards children is Children with Challenging Behaviors workshop, and this is April 22nd from 8:30 to 3 in the afternoon, and it's at the Owatonna Hospital. And this is going to give parents so they can determine that, because behavior in children, it can be all over the place as they're becoming adolescents, and this is, you know, for adolescents, the parents who have adolescents too. And this is kind of going to give parents ideas what type of behavior could possibly be leading to something else, such as a mental illness or something like that, and ways to cope and different resources.
Okay, really quick, if people want more information, where can they find it?
Actually, this would be on the NAMI website.
But if they want more local information?
They actually could call me and I can give them some information, and I think my number will be
It
up
is.
there,
Good.
or they could email me too
Good.
and stuff.
Thank you so much for your time, and I think this is such an important thing to bring to the forefront, so I really appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you, Leanne.
Yep, thank you so much.
We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Hello, my name is Katie Marshall. A year ago, my family and I became homeless. We were scared and alone. Today, with the help of Steele County Transitional Housing and generous donors like you, my family and I are safely housed. I am working, going to college, paying my rent on time. My children have a warm bed to sleep in every night. My family and I are so grateful for this second chance. Please help others in need by donating to transitional housing today. Everyone deserves a safe place to live.
Every child needs a mentor, a positive role model. For me, that was my grandmother. For more than 110 years, Big Brothers Big Sisters has been making meaningful monitor matches between adult volunteers and children. And these positive relationships have direct and measurable impacts. Help a child realize his or her potential. Visit bigbrothersbigsisters.org.
And we're back with a quick look at some of your community service announcements. The Steele County Historical Society is pleased to welcome Susan Garwood, the Executive Director of the Rice County Historical Society. This is on Thursday, January 29th at 1 p.m. in the Wenger Room of the History Center. The subject will be Navigating the Dalby Database, which is a genealogy research tool, and admission to the lecture is free, but donations are appreciated, so you can check that out. Also, the Steele County Historical Society is welcoming the American Showcase, and this is on Friday, January 30th, in the Wenger Room of the History Center. There will be 3 performers that night: Bethany Larson, Ben Kyle, and Brandon Sampson. Social hour does begin at 6:30 with a cash, beer, and wine bar available. Music will begin at 7:30 in the History Center Wenger Room, and tickets are required and may be purchased in advance at the History Center office or at the door the evening of the event. The cost is $20 for non-members and $15 for Steele County Historical Society members. The Steele County Humane Society Volunteer Expo is coming up Saturday, January 31st from 11 to 2 at Spare Time Entertainment. There will be tables for you to visit and learn about the Steele County Humane Society, volunteer opportunities, and fundraiser in 2015. You can also sign up at the events of your choosing. There will be a raffle prize. The proceeds will go to our CSA. Steele County Humane Society. I was going to say that it didn't work. Burger baskets. She's saying it. I can't. It's not going to happen. Burger baskets are $7 with parts of the proceeds going to those humane people. And for more information, contact 507-451-4512. And do want to remind you of the local Owatonna and Sportive Alzheimer's group has a limited number of scholarships available for individuals wishing to attend the meeting of the Minds Dementia Conference in 2015. If you want more information, you can contact Deb Gillard at 507-676-0411. Thank you so much for joining us right here on the Owatonna Today Show. We want to make sure you tune in on Friday when we're going to be talking to Jason Aberg with a Bremer Bank update, as well as we're going to be talking about Kiwanis Club and Read Around the World. It's going to be a great show. See you then.